A new agent is coming out in Valorant very, very soon. So today, I thought we'd take a look at that new agent, kind of discussing where they might fit into the game, and generally just talking about agent design a bit in general, because it's quite fun to do. So first off, what are some basics that we know about the new agent that is coming to Valorant pretty soon? Well, they are an initiator from Colombia. We know that for sure. Their card, kind of their teaser card, is called Striking Distance, and their in-game name in the files, kind of their code name, is Glass Tech. So these are kind of some of the basic things that we know about this agent that we'll get into a bit later in the video. But first, let's talk about where this new agent might fit into the initiator class. So what I've gone ahead and done is create a Venn diagram for the initiator class and the kind of 3 different types of initiators that we generally have in the game right now. So the first one is recon initiators, of course. Then you've got deep lying support initiators, and you've got second in playmakers. Now, just quickly, second in playmakers to me means, you know, someone who isn't the duelist. The duelist will be the first in, but then this kind of initiator is kind of, you know, that second player into the site, helping set up that duelist and then pushing forward. So in terms of these different agents in these classes, of course, you've got Sova and Fade. Sova, of course, closer to being a deep layer support, and Fade perhaps being a bit closer to being a second in playmaker. You've got Breach, who's obviously a deep lying support. And for the second in playmakers, you've got Gecko and KO. And then Sky is kind of somewhat sitting here, maybe a bit more in the middle between Recon and second in playmaker. Now, you might disagree on exactly where, you know, in the Venn diagram these different agents should go, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't really matter too much because you'll probably end up with something that looks generally like this. And if you're looking for a space of where this new agent might go, of course, there's going to be a pretty big, significant space down here in the deep lying support class alongside Breach, right? That to me is where this agent is perhaps most likely to go, because there's a big space there, right? Where Breach kind of exists somewhat on his own. And so that's the first direction that I think that this agent is likely to go in. Again, not necessarily that they will, but I think that that is perhaps the most likely direction for this new agent to go. But of course, one of the crucial things whenever Riot is designing agents in this game is that they're going to start with a central theme, a central question to that agent, right? Let's take Gecko as an example, right? Gecko was the last initiator released, and of course, one of the central questions that you can imagine that was coming up when designing Gecko was, what does an agent look like in Valorant that has super low cooldowns? Right? Obviously, super low cooldowns as an idea is going to be a very strong idea, and so they had to come up with ways of kind of having a drawback, right? Where you have to go and pick the abilities back up, and there's a risk to that. Do you want to go and do that, right? And obviously, we ended up with Gecko, and those kind of central core questions to an agent are going to be central to the kind of agent that ends up being, you know, delivered in the actual game. And there is one question that relates to kind of being a deep lying support initiator that I came up with like a week ago, and it's just been in my head the whole time and I can't get it out. And even if this new agent doesn't end up with this kind of design, at some point I guarantee we will end up with an initiator that does kind of answer this question, and that is, what does a lurking initiator look like? And that question really got my mind worrying about all of the different things that that could potentially entail, and also would require perhaps being a deep lying support kind of initiator. Now again, this is not necessarily what this initiator is going to be, but I think in the future you will find that kind of design, because you might think that lurking and initiating for the team, aren't those two things like the antithesis of each other? Doesn't that make no sense really? And yeah, kind of it does. But that can actually lead you to some very interesting design directions. And as we go forward in the game, we will get more of this, because as more and more agents get into the game, you keep running out of less and less space to make them unique and different enough from other agents. So as we add more, you're going to need more of these kind of designs. And I think one example of this is Chamber, where Chamber in the Sentinel class is very, very clearly different to every other Sentinel. And this led, of course, when Chamber was out and was getting played a lot of people were like, oh, Chamber's not a Sentinel, Chamber's not a Sentinel. Well, he is a Sentinel, but he has just a very kind of antithesis design, right? Where he's a Sentinel who, you know, controls that space and defends that space with his own body, right? And he's so different to the other Sentinels that are in the game that it feels very strange. But that makes him very unique and has his own space essentially in the game. because he has that kind of design. And so I think as we go forward, even if it's not this new agent, at some point we will get these kind of designs more and more in the game, because they create very, very unique agents that are not like anything else, even if you have already a lot of agents in a space. So that was just a quick little ramble there about agent design, but now let's head back to Agent 27 and talking about some of their specifics, right? So this is their player card. It is called Striking Distance, and obviously the name is perhaps somewhat of a clue as well. Also, this thing here in the middle here is going to be important, and we'll explain that in just a second to this agent, whatever they do. I don't know what this is, but this is going to be important. I will tell you that now. Now, the thing is, when looking at this, to me, I don't know about you, but this whole kind of thing, to me, looks like an airstrike. That is what I think when I take a look at this card, and, you know, specifically kind of this thing coming down and doing this. I think airstrike, right? And also the card is called Striking Distance, right? Which, to me, again, kind of says maybe some kind of ult could be an airstrike. And there are some more clues which give some more credence to that kind of airstrike theory, because perhaps the biggest clue we've had so far is, of course, this little teaser video. And in this teaser video, there are some things we need to take note of, right? So he puts down the coffee cup. The first thing is he grabs this, which is the thing from the card. Again, I don't know what this is. If anyone does know what this is, please put it in the comments down below so that everyone can be enlightened, because it's probably going to be very essential to what this agent does. But he picks up whatever this is, don't know what that is, right? He's then going to pick up a gun. He's then going to take another sip of the coffee here, and then, you know, as the alarms are going off, he's going to leave, pick up his shades, and jump off what is a plane, right? And this again leads me to the airstrike thing, right? Of he's on a plane. Right? Is this the ult, the plane that he's on? Another thing that other people have picked up from this video is, of course, the glasses. Because you might remember from the start of the video, his nickname in the files is Glass Tech, right? And he picks up the glasses, and that's obviously a very central part of this video, and the character is him picking up these shades, right? And the nickname is Glass Tech, right? So this has led to some theories. I'll let Mimi explain her theory here on Plat Chat.
He very specifically put on his sunglasses before getting off the plane, before going to dive, which could be something that's important. They only shows 3 items on this page. And my question is, what if he has some kind of like anti-flash or see-through smokes or some weird ability like that?
That, I think, is a very interesting idea of what this could be, and I think is a pretty good one, right? Like, in terms of what the specifics are, who knows, right? Maybe it lets you see through smokes, maybe it lets you see through a certain wall or whatever, right? But clearly that the glasses are potentially some kind of ability as well, right? Whatever he picks up at the start seems like it's probably an ability. The glasses also perhaps an ability that this agent uses as well. So those are kind of some of the early things that I think you can start to build up about this agent just from the teaser that we've got thus far. Let me know what you think in the comments down below of what that might entail, what these abilities might do. As always, I like theorizing about agents. I think it's fun. I'm sure some of you watching this video do as well, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So let us all know what you think in the comments down below.